This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You're plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA-related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place. The sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
Welcome to the war zone of Wrestling Wednesday here on the Podcast Wrestling Society. I am your loving leader, benevolent host, Midwest Monster, and the man who is not buff, but I do have the stuff, Troy Adams. And my tag team partner here today, he's going to light up a smoke and call out Kevin Green for a fight in the middle of the ring. He is the Mr. Ass to my Road Dogg. I've got just 2 words for ya. It's Greg.
What up, Greg?
What up?
How's your week been? It's been stressful as heck for me.
Yeah, about the same. I don't know
see,
why. My job's been busy as hell lately, so I'm wrecked. Spoiler, it's Friday. I'm already halfway asleep, so.
Nice.
And I still haven't even packed for my damn vacation yet, which I'm going to do tomorrow.
Well, have fun with that. This, for all of you out there, is airing far after we record it. But we wanted to record it in plenty of time. Greg has already been on his vacation, I believe. So because this is airing like way after SummerSlam, so you're already back.
Yeah, I got back yesterday.
Yeah, so this is our August 21st show. It was originally going to be pre-SummerSlam that we did this.
Oh, then I got back last week. Sorry.
Well, there you go.
It's awkward now.
Well, we were originally going to air this before SummerSlam, but obviously we aired uncensored 95 and 96. So those were some shows.
Yeah. There was something.
Yeah, some, I can't say fond memories. They were just memories. Maybe nightmares, fever dreams, I don't know. Whatever you want to call them.
We're a fan of torture.
Yeah. We are covering the date of July 6th, 1998. It was a big night in wrestling history on Monday.
It was huge.
It literally was huge in many ways. You said in our last Monday Night Wars, podcast that there was a time when you didn't have to flip back and forth, and a time when you did have to flip back and forth.
And this was the first time where I had to flip back and forth. For some reason, they stopped airing it early on the West Coast that night. I don't know why.
Oh man, and what a terrible night to start that.
I know, right?
Well,
oh man.
I mean, then I think I know the answer to this question, but I might be surprised. Were you watching Raw or were you watching Nitro?
I was watching Nitro this night because we knew it was going to happen. We had heard the announcement on Thunder the week before, and my anticipation was through the roof.
Right. Yeah. Conrad Thompson, the Podfather, he was talking about he had to switch back and forth, and he was on vacation at the time, and he said he actually. Because Raw was preempted that night, so he said he got on the dirt sheet beforehand and read the results, and he was like, well, now I can just watch Nitro. So that was always that was one thing WWE had going against it, but wasn't this the last night that Nitro ever beat them in the ratings?
I think no. I think something about the Finger Poke of Doom, that was the last time they ever won anything. So
well, this night was very, very big. A lot of people have said that this was kind of hot-shotting on WCW's part,
clearly. I mean, the pay-per-view is 6 days later.
Yeah, I know. And, I mean, I will say this, even though it's hot-shotting and everything, because of what was booked for the pay-per-view, I think it kind of made sense, because now you can have 2 high-profile matches instead of one high-profile match where the champion is tied up. But what did Goldberg do at Bash at the Beach?
He wrestled Kurt Hennig.
Okay. And they kind of set that up this night on Nitro.
Well, he was already feuding with them.
Yeah. And they were pushing a little bit of that this night as well. You didn't see a whole lot of interaction between Hennig and Goldberg, but there was some. But I'll tell you what, man, they really, and I get it, it was the high-profile, like, marquee match of the night. But my gosh, like, DDP, Karl Malone, and Hulk Hogan were all over this show. Mostly DDP and Karl Malone. Like, they had so many appearances. But
was this? I forget. Were they tracking the 18-wheeler this night?
No, that was the week before.
Yeah, that was right. Okay.
Yeah.
But they showed it multiple times, right, this night? That's why I couldn't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, they kept showing it over and over, and I'm like, I get it. Good Lord.
And also, who travels that far in a freaking 18-wheeler? Why wouldn't you just fly?
Yeah, well...
Why was this like such a big deal? They're in an 18-wheeler. And? I would have been more interested if they were in a damn white Bronco.
Well, I think they did... Wow. I think they did that...
It took you a second.
For publicity. Kind of, you know, it's like, hey, everybody, come out and see the big 18-wheeler come through your town. And, by the way, watch Bash at the Beach.
Rolls through. It's not even them guys. It's like, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. No.
Oh, my gosh. They just get a random white guy and a random black guy. It's like,
I didn't say it.
And the funny thing would be, like, if the white guy was, like, really tall and the black guy was, like, Kevin Hart. Like,
yes!
That'd be, like, the complete opposite. Because, like, they pointed out...
It's Kevin McHale and Kevin Hart.
My gosh. Yeah, because they pointed out, like, how tall Karl Malone was. He was standing on the floor, and his head was, like, level with the top rope. Like, he was a tall dude. And so was Dennis Rodman, by the way, who was not all over the show because he just didn't show up. So that was that.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. Well, you want to... well, keep in mind, he is the Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling champion, brother.
Yeah.
Hashtag never forget.
Wow.
Well, you may think that history is, vaguely interesting. The truth is, it's fun and metal AF.
Echoes of the past are still reverberating through our world today, and Body Count is here to show you how our shared history affects your life on the daily.
Whether you know it or not. So, are you past the point of higher education?
Feel like you didn't learn anything from your high school history teacher?
Or just didn't give a flying crap about it?
Are you tired of always missing out on the yellow history pie piece in Trivial Pursuit?
Are you the horror of all your friends' game nights?
Did you once proudly announce that Napoleon Bonaparte was a super short little nutsack?
When in reality, he was an average-sized nutsack.
Have you been thinking about living under a faulty dam?
Or perhaps an active volcano?
Well, we have good news. It's not too late for you or your homeowner's insurance.
Come on over and listen to Body Count, the podcast that explores death and disaster through the ages with only one rule.
Someone, or usually a lot of someones, dies!
Because history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes.
A proud member of the MSE Podcast Network.
Hey guys, I'm Brittany.
And I'm Kelly.
And we're the hosts of The Faves of Our Lives,
the podcast about everyone's favorite everythings.
This season, we talk about everyone's favorite TV shows by taking polls and comments on social media.
Join us for laughs, banter, and made-up words.
You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at The Faves of RL1. That's at The Faves of RL and the number 1.
Bye.
Started with Nitro last time. You want to get into Raw first? Raw is War?
Yes.
Okay. It was the
This was a
shorter
good
of
one.
the
This is a forgotten show, by the way.
It is. I mean, it wasn't like there were some things on the show that were really good and stood out.
Well, there's
a
one
lot.
thing in particular. Yeah.
Right. And we'll get to that. But this Raw was good. The one note I want to make is that there were you know how it's a little awkward at times. They might now be finally hitting their stride. It's like, okay, I remember how to do this now. You remember in the Attitude Era, you hardly ever got a commercial break during a wrestling match. Ever.
Yes.
But on the flip side, no match went longer than 5 minutes. Like,
yeah.
There was just a bunch of really short, choppy matches.
If I remember right, the last match was like 40 seconds. Something like that.
Yeah, it was weird. It was just a lot of weird stuff. But the week before this, I think it was it the week before that Kane put his newly won WWF title on the line and lost it?
I don't know if it was the week before or the 2 weeks before, but yeah. It was really prior.
Yeah, they kept playing that up. That because he won the First Blood match against Stone Cold Steve Austin at what pay-per-view was that? King of the Ring, right?
King of the Ring, yep.
Yeah. And he won that, and the stipulations were, and this is what we always make fun of, because if Stone Cold lost, he lost the WWF title, but if he won, then Kane agreed to set himself on fire. And that's what the famous, what we always make fun of Vince Russo, because Bruce Pritchard mocked Vince Russo about this, and where he said, bro, he's going to set himself on fire and he's gone forever, bro.
Oh, my other favorite one from that, too, is when he's like, well, how the hell is Kane going to lose the First Blood match? He's completely covered. Bro, he could slit his throat, bro.
Yeah. Bro, he could slit his throat, he could bleed out, bro. Gone forever. Oh, good Lord.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, Kane, I have a Jax figure of that Kane, by the way.
I don't have any Kane figures. Oh.
That was the first time Kane ever wore the double-sleeved attire. Because at first, like, going into the match, I was like, well, Stone Cold's got to cut his arm open. And then I'm like, dang it, his arm's covered up too. What the hell?
He had a free hand.
Yeah, I was like, well, he'll just have to cut his hand open or something. And I'm like, dude, I was like 7 years old at the time, and I'm like, I was 7. And I was like flipping out over this. I was not happy. Because, I mean, I was a little kid. I was a big Stone Cold mark, so. But, yeah, so just wanted to start off by saying the old WWF Attitude Era and the Raw as War openings just, like, gave me goosebumps.
I love the opening of Raw itself was epic.
Yeah. Yeah, because
you felt like you were watching, like, an awesome TV show, not just Welcome to Monday Night Raw.
Right, yeah. The old, like, kind of the digital open the WWF used to have back then, you remember that?
I do, yeah.
That was epic. But the show opens, Undertaker comes out demanding a title shot. And keep in mind, by the way, I forgot to finish up that story. Kane won the title. He put it on the line the next night on Raw and lost to Stone Cold. So,
fun fact, Stone Cold's beaten Undertaker and Kane, I think the night after King of the Ring, in consecutive years for the WWE title.
That's ridiculous. So dumb. But Undertaker comes out demanding a world title shot. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like judging by his actions and everything, I think they dubbed over you and I's favorite theme song of his.
No, they debut that at Judgment Day, I believe. No, not Fully Loaded, the pay-per-view after.
Oh.
Or shortly thereafter. It's around that time.
I thought they debuted it here only because, or not debuted it, but I thought they had it here only because he came out and he did that where he, in the corner where he thrusts his arms up and the pyro blows. And I thought he only did that.
Unless they did, I'm missing something, but.
I don't know why they dubbed
I
it.
remember it starting at fully loaded.
But anyway, that's my. You and I have agreed that like his pre-ministry theme was our favorite he's ever had.
Easily.
Yeah. We see a video of Michael Cole taking forever in the back, just opening up every little door looking for Stone Cold. This goes on for like 3 minutes, and there's at one point like.
What's wrong with more Michael Cole on our TV?
Oh yeah, he's got the blonde highlights, great stuff. And like I half expected him.
You just know someone stuffed his ass in a locker multiple times back there, or in high school.
I can almost guarantee. But I half expected him to start like opening up cupboards and drawers and stuff. Stone Cold. It was ridiculous.
Also, could we talk about just like what like a tiny little man he was back then?
Back then,
he couldn't have weighed more than 100 pounds.
Yeah, I know. But finally, Austin comes out, and before they can get into it, Mr. McMahon interrupts, and he says that he will decide the number one contender later on, and then flips them both off very awkward. His middle finger is weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the funniest things ever. I'll say that.
Doesn't he keep like his forefinger and his ring finger like kind of up but like bent?
He keeps all of his fingers up and he bends them like halfway down.
Yeah, that's right.
He doesn't bend them at the knuckle like normal. It's freaking weird, dude. But it's like the funniest freaking thing ever. And they pixelate it like halfway through his bird, so you still get to see it.
I believe this is tape too. You think they could have did that pixelation a little bit better?
I know, little off there. Well, something else that was historic this night. I mean, it's been going on. This is like the middle of it, I think, or close to the beginning. But we're in Brawl for All.
Yeah, this is legendary, historic. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, legendary something. Well, it was Savio Vega versus Brackus. When I think,
okay, I want to say this. I think this is the only time I've ever seen Brackus ever, and I remember all the the promo build-ups for him.
He had a couple matches, but the thing was, and I never knew this was a thing. But you ever hear that, like the sayings as like, well, you're made for show, I'm made for go, and it's like that's true because he was a weak man. Because he tried doing a gorilla press slam, and he was, like, struggling to hold a small dude up over his head. I'm like, oh, dude, what the hell, man? Oh, I have a Jax figure of Savio Vega, by the way.
Of course you do.
You didn't expect that one. It was a gift. Apparently my friends hate me. But anyway, these Brawl for All... too. Yeah, I know. I just have to point out, these Brawl for All gloves were like comedically gigantic. They were large freaking boxing gloves. To anybody who doesn't remember Brawl for All, like just briefly the rules, it's a shoot fight.
First of all, go look it up. Go watch some fights.
Oh yeah,
you'll see why it's funny. But yeah, go ahead.
It was a concept by Vince Russo, which tells you many things right there. It's a shoot fight tournament. It's combo of like boxing and MMA. Like it's not really MMA, but you can do takedowns and you get points for takedowns. But I don't think you get the ground and pound. Do you? Like
no, I think they stopped it when it went down. I believe.
Yeah, but you do get points for takedowns.
Whoa, look at that! Luckily, I've forgotten some of it.
Yeah, right. You get points for. You don't get points by punches. You just get, like, if you have more punches connected in a round, then you get a point, or so many points, whatever. And I think there's 3 1-minute rounds. So it's like the shortest shoot fight of all time. So it's basically like a tough man competition, if anybody's ever seen those. None of these guys are trained fighters, but Savio Vega...
And who's tougher than Brackus and Savio Vega, man?
Well, apparently Savio Vega was a legit, like, tough dude. But, yeah, dude, this was ugly. Brackus was gassed after he threw his first punch.
Savio Vega dominated, and he won. But you know who the real losers were here?
I was going to say, we all lost, though. He won, we lost.
Well, of course.
I'll be honest. I think when this first came on, I honestly don't remember my reaction to it. I was like, whatever.
I was indifferent to it.
Yeah, I just, looking back, I know what a horrible concept it was, but at the time, I'm thinking, okay. Yeah, I do remember specifically switching over to Nitro during these segments, though. I can tell you that for a fact.
That's bad. Yeah. Well, we're not done with the Brawl for All for the night, so plug in.
That's good news.
Oh, yeah.
Next one's a barn burner.
Oh, hell yeah. Up next, though, we get Ken Shamrock, who is a real legit fighter, which is why he didn't enter in this damn contest. He took on Jeff Jarrett with Tennessee Lee in his corner.
Who was also a real legit fighter.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Don't you remember the Double J MMA Invitational in TNA?
Why do you bring this up, Greg?
Hey, we're on the topic, all right?
Oh, good. Of terrible things, yeah. Speaking of terrible things, Jeff Jarrett. Anyway, I have Jack's figures of both Ken Shamrock and Jeff Jarrett. So,
you know, Jeff Jarrett smashed 1,000 guitars.
Never drew a dime. I will.
Not to speak ill of the dead, but that was, come on.
Yeah, I had to write this down. Jeff Jarrett and Tennessee Lee look so out of place in WWF in 1998.
I mean, it's funny you say that because I was also thinking, like, I heard Bruce Pritchard saying, like, in 1998 they were talking to Hogan about coming back.
Yeah,
and I'm all like, would he really fit in with the Attitude Era?
No, not at all. It was a little weird. Yeah, there were a couple things on this show where I was like, really? Like, all right. You just roll with it. King Mabel, speaking of things that don't belong, wearing all black, comes out of the crowd 2 years after he was supposed to be the third man, by the way. He comes out of the crowd and he attacks Ken Shamrock, causing the DQ. He hits a big splash on Shamrock and then leaves through the crowd. Shamrock selling his ribs. Not for long.
Kevin Nash probably wasn't selling crap. That was probably legit.
Yeah. Well, he didn't sit on him, Greg. Although that, again, not to speak ill of the dead, but that was a lot of man boob, like dropping down on him. Michael Cole then interviews Ken Shamrock backstage. Damn it. Shamrock says that if Mabel is any kind of man, he'll meet him later on tonight. So they're really hot-shotting this because, you know, got to get more Mabel on TV? I don't know. But here we go.
I don't see the negative in that. But
Vader versus Bradshaw. I have a Jack's figure of Vader and Bradshaw. They start by showing...
I don't have either one.
Well, screw you then. They start by showing...
Wait, I have Bradshaw. Never mind, sorry. Sorry, go on.
I have an APA Bradshaw and a JBL, both Jacks. But they show quote-unquote highlights of the week before where Bradshaw was beating the piss out of somebody. I don't even remember who it was. He looked like...
Probably someone from Oklahoma.
Good Lord. It just looked like a bar fight. It doesn't even look like a sanctioned... like legit fight. It just looked like somebody beating the hell out of somebody in a bar brawl. Yeah. So anyway, they're beating the crap out of each other. No one cares. You could have heard a mouse fart from, up in the nosebleeds. Lawler announces randomly that Roy Rogers died that day. So, yeah.
I'm sorry, who's Roy Rogers?
He's a country singer, I believe, or was.
I honestly never heard of him.
Yeah, he brought him up because he's like, well, I'm sure Bradshaw is heartbroken. Roy Rogers, yeah, he is a country singer. He's like, Roy Rogers died earlier today, and I'm sure that broke Bradshaw's heart. And I'm like, who gives no offense, but who cares right now?
This was not Brawl for All, by the way. This was just a match. And Kane and Mankind came out and laid out both men for the DQ. If you're keeping count, every match has been a screwed finish so far. Kane
I see a pattern. Oh, wait, hold on. I think the Brawl for All was a decent finish.
Yeah, it was a decision, I think. Or, well, no, I think Savio did win via knockout. I don't even remember. It sucked. But Kane hit his pyro.
It's going to hurt my head.
Leave. Yeah. Now we get the DOA, Skull and 8-Ball. They have Paul Ellering with them, who's wearing a pink T-shirt for some reason. And they're taking on the Headbangers, who I have Jack's figures of.
This is a main event anywhere in the damn country right here.
Damn straight. 4 weird-ass bald guys, and they're weird for different reasons. 2 of them wearing leather, and 2 of them wearing skirts. No judgment here.
There's no judgment. It's just the way you put that on paper in a wrestling ring.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, a little. Mosh and Thrasher.
Hey, to each his own. Whatever. Just
yeah.
We're talking about these guys in a wrestling ring. That's a freak show right there.
Yeah, it definitely is. They did come out pouring hot candle wax down their arms, peeling it off, and then chewing it.
Wow.
So, that was a thing. Well, on commentary, Paul Ellering says that he came to write the final chapter on the Legion of Doom, which I found kind of ironic. That's why I wrote it down. But yeah, so he's feuding with the LOD here. He cuts this long-ass promo on commentary. This was back when, special guest commentator actually meant something. Now it's just they just come out to be super annoying and make me dislike whoever's on commentary.
Or if it's a woman, come out for Corey Graves to hit on him, one of the two.
Yeah, and that's not creepy, everybody. It's not. I'm trying to figure out, because in my not caring about this match, I forgot to write down who won. DOA won in 3 minutes 44 seconds. So, yeah. Gosh. Up next, we get Terry Funk versus
I'm starting to wonder why Raw lost this night. Sorry. Anyways.
I know, right? Up next, we get Terry Funk versus D'Lo Brown with the Godfather in his corner. Main event anywhere in the world, I guess. Funk got
it's Terry Funk. Terry Funk, but to be fair, and D'Lo Brown's a damn good wrestler, so...
He is, but what the F?
I guess I'm just trying to make it make sense. I don't know.
Well, Funk got a jobber entrance. I wrote this again. He looks very out of place in 1999 or 1998 WWF. I don't know. It's weird. But D'Lo came out to an instrumental of The Rock Says. It was kind of weird. And The Rock's Titantron. So the whole nation just came out to The Rock's Tron at this point. It was weird. But Funk actually hits an Asai moonsault and about breaks his legs on the railing outside. I was like, what the F did I just see? Keep in mind,
he was crazy.
He's still wrestling last I knew, and he was a million years old here. So, but the Godfather laid Funk out.
I'll just come out wrong, but I really believe his life's going to end in the ring. I think he's just going to go to sleep in the ring and go away. I'm telling you, he's not going to die an old man in his bed. He's going to die in the ring.
Which is ironic because there's.
And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to live to be 100 years old, and he's going to die in the ring. I'm telling you. He's just going to be in there just sleeping.
And somebody's going to tell his opponent the same thing he told Mick Foley when he was a rookie taking on Ron Simmons. He said, son, if he dies in that ring, you're going to drag his carcass on top of you for the 3 count.
See, I remember him saying this on Beyond the Mat. That's why I said it. I'm going to die in the ring.
He will. He freaking will. He's crazy. But either way, the Godfather laid him.
I was going to say I love that guy. I never will not like him.
No, yeah. I don't want to see him wrestle ever again, but he's a cool dude. I just want to see him punch a horse again.
Doing that right now.
Godfather laid Funk out behind the ref's back. D'Lo hit the lowdown and wins. So we get, I mean, it was a finish. All right, it wasn't like DQ. So there you go. Undertaker came down to the ring again, and he laid out Godfather and D'Lo with choke slams for no reason. Terry Funk thanked him and gets a choke slam for his troubles. Keep in mind, this is only like a few weeks removed from that Hell in a Cell match where Taker choke slammed Terry Funk literally out of his sneakers. Mr. McMahon comes out, calls down Mankind, Kane, and Undertaker. Every single time Taker comes out, pyro blows like crazy for him. They were just burning through pyro like water here.
Gee, I wonder why they had to cut it.
Right? It's like, dude, once. All right? Not every... if a guy comes out to talk on the mic, you don't have to blow the pyro for him. And then McMahon concludes by booking them in a triple threat number one contenders match tonight. Here, this next one is another brawl for all, man. This one was...
yes, this was the epic one.
This was weird. It was Hawk versus Draws. I have a
so
Jack
here's
figure
my
of
thing.
Hawk.
You don't have Draws? I've seen that one everywhere.
No, I haven't. But I got LOD 2000, so I have this Hawk.
This is what threw me for a loop. I know that Hawk and Draws were like feuding. And before I knew this was a shoot thing,
bro,
it fit in really well with it.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't know it was a shoot. I'm like, oh, they're arguing. You're fine. That's why they're doing this.
Well,
was it a coincidence or what?
Well, and what muddied the waters even more was Hawk was in full paint and tights.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
It was freaking weird. And this was during the era where he wasn't shaving his like double mohawk anymore. He just let his hair grow. That looked weird. I'll say, I don't know if it's the same for you. It's a little sad to see Draws, knowing what happened.
Yeah, coincidentally, he follows D'Lo in this card. Huh.
I know, so freaking weird. But they go to a draw, by the way. A freaking draw. I don't know what that means, because I don't want to watch any more of this or look it up. But I guess they're both eliminated?
Can we just eliminate everybody and end it?
Please? This next segment, man, god dang. Mark Merrow and Jacqueline come out. Jacqueline says that Sable couldn't satisfy Mark, and then Sable comes out. The women trade slut insults back and forth. Like, that was the entirety of their insults, was, you're a bigger slut than me. No, you're a bigger slut than me. It was very Attitude Era women fight. But yeah, either way, Jacqueline finally challenges Sable to a bikini contest, because that'll really teach him. Sable was horribly scripted, and her delivery was so flat, unlike her. Nothing, really?
I don't know what to say to that.
She was just a terrible actress.
I'm reacting, you just can't tell.
Yeah, it was just...
is this where we do a promo for Blue Chew, by the way? I forget.
Oh, gosh. We will shamelessly shill our penis pills.
Coincidentally enough, what's next?
Yes, it's Dustin Runnels versus Val Venus. I have a Jack figure of Val. Dustin gets a jobber entrance. Val starts the match by cutting a promo about how he repeatedly gets laid. That was cool, I guess. Dustin prays like he's Tim Tebow. I never noticed that before. This was pre-Tim Tebow, so maybe Tebow prays like he's Dustin Runnels.
He used to walk around the sign with the said that he is coming, and everyone thought, of course, he meant Jesus. Turned out to be Gold Dust. But one of the things that started the whole Val Venus feud is he came out with a sign that said, "I have come," and he spelled it a different way.
Oh my gosh.
That was a thing.
Of course it was. Bro, talk about ejaculate, bro.
Oh my god.
The kids will love it, bro.
Oh, good Lord. But here's another screwed finish. Wow. Irony that I used that.
Wow.
No pun intended.
Bum.
Venus gets jumped by Kaientai for the DQ. Kaientai was like Men's Teio, Funaki, and Dick to Go.
There it is.
Had to get it in. It's one of the only times I'll ever get to mention Dick to Go. They hold Venus, and Yamaguchi-san goes off on him for hitting on his wife. Then he slaps him, and they leave. This was just like a couple weeks removed, a couple weeks away from me choppy you pee-pee. If none of you know what I'm talking about, go look it up. Like, I was a child watching this and just like mortified.
And you get to see Val Venus's bare man ass.
Well, yes. Ratings.
Bro, show him the porn star's ass, bro.
Bro, the Japanese guy is going to pull out a samurai sword and chop off his wiener, bro.
And that wiener's going to be gone forever.
But it's going to be funny because he calls it a pee-pee, bro. Like he's 5. Oh, my gosh.
I wish you were making this up, but there's a good chance we're not.
Yeah. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that. Vince McMahon's like, that's good crap, pal. The Rock says hits, and DX comes out impersonating the Nation of Domination while in blackface. I
gotta say, other than certain parts, this was probably one of my favorite moments in wrestling history.
It was funny.
I still bust the rib laughing at this to this day.
It was hilarious. I will say, playing devil's advocate here for the other side, I think they were just like, hey, you see what the NWO did to the Four Horsemen? We could do that. Yeah. And
wait. They did it better, though. I think.
Both of them were pretty memorable. I mean, the whole Ma Spot thing, that was hilarious. I have no feeling in my left hand. The significance of that, not the hand I open beer with.
I feel bad laughing at that.
He's such an a-hole, when it was hilarious. But yeah, I can't put over enough the fact that they were wearing blackface in 1998.
Well, I think only X-Pac wasn't he?
No, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were both in blackface.
I think they were like over tanned, right? I think.
No, they were wearing. X-Pac was wearing. It looked like he had like shoe polish on, but the other two were like, it was actual like brown paint.
I think they over tanned or something. He said, or like heavily over tanned or something like that.
This was I don't know, because Triple H looked like he just had spray tan on. The other ones were
maybe that's the one they said. Maybe that's the one they meant them when they heard it.
Yeah, because the other ones were like definitely in blackface. I was like, bad look. It was still funny, but it's like, man. But they come out with that Owen Hart impersonator, Jason Sensation.
Probably the highlight of the whole skit, by the way.
That, and I realize it's toilet humor, but I can't help it. Triple H says he's calling himself the Croc instead of the Rock, and he goes, the Croc just went to the bathroom, and you should have smelled what the Croc was cooking. And then Road Dogg is supposed to be D-Lo, and he was like, the Croc was cooking! Your boy was cooking! And he's just like going off. And Triple H says that if he doesn't get women, he has to lay the smack down on himself.
The brother smacks himself down.
Oh, man. And then the fake Owen complains that he's not a nugget and he has a huge nose. X-Pac
he looks like a damn road sign.
Yeah.
A school crossing.
X-Pac is supposed to be Mizark Henry. He makes a joke about eating poop, which, if you're not in on the joke, it's not funny. It's one of those, insider things. Legend has it, somebody pooped in Mark Henry's sandwich, and he ate it for real.
Poop. That's good crap, pal. It was a perfect time for that. Come on. But they all conclude by saying, suck it. You know, the usual. But then we get this classic.
I forgot, by the way, this reminds me that Triple H, Surefire Hall of Famer, one of the greatest ever, was a proud European champion.
Well, yeah. And he had since The Rock was the Intercontinental Champion, he took electrical tape and taped IC over that.
Freaking Sabu'd it.
It was ridiculous.
Like, Sabu did with Taz's FTW title, remember?
Really? No. What did he?
Yeah, he took like some paper, like some tape, and wrote Sabu on it, and put it over the FTW on the FTW title.
Wow, that just sounds genius.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, at least this was a joke. But this classic, man, is King Mabel versus Ken Shamrock. Mabel gets a job.
How did this not WrestleMania main event? I don't.
Yeah, I know, right? This is the last time I'm going to say this for the night, but I've said it multiple times. Mabel looks so out of place in 1998 WWF. Like, he's not
fair, in a
yet.
couple of months. To be fair, yeah, I was going to say, in a couple of months he'll look in place.
He does, and he's fine. But as Mabel, and he's wearing his old Mabel gear, and just.
And he's rapping.
No, he's not rapping yet. But
yeah, exactly. Fail.
You're right. Mabel goes to the second rope for a clothesline. Shamrock dodges him, catches him for a Fujiwara armbar, turns it into an ankle lock. Mabel taps out. Shamrock wins, but he won't break the hold. It takes 3 referees and Sergeant Slaughter to pull him off of Mabel. So they brought Mabel back to job him out on night 1. Cool.
Yeah?
Why? But it's main event time.
Just because.
Yeah. But it's main event time finally. Mr. McMahon comes down to do commentary for the main event. Stone Cold comes out to do the same. Mankind and Kane come down. And then the Undertaker's music hits, and he doesn't come out. Mr. McMahon declares it a singles match now, and he makes Tony Chimmel say that it's now a singles match because the Undertaker is a chicken expletive. That mullet on Tony Chimmel, by the way, in '98, he was really white.
He was rocking it.
Hell yeah. Mankind refuses to fight his buddy Kane, and he sits down against the steel steps outside. Kane goes out, grabs a chair, and just blasts him with it up against the stairs. And then he picks him up, rolls him in, and he pins him Undertaker style. Then he stands up and he faces hard cam, rips his mask off, and oh my God, it's the Undertaker! It's not Kane after all! The Undertaker is the #1 contender. Austin and McMahon flip out in anger, and the show closes. It was done perfectly on time. It's like, rip the mask off, get the reaction, boom, show's done. I'm like,
I don't think we ever found out what happened to Kane either.
I wouldn't doubt it. So what happened to Kane? Who cares, bro? He wasn't there.
You know what's funny? They're releasing a figure this year of that moment.
Yeah, wasn't it like you can just take the mask off and it's Undertaker's face?
Yeah, he's got like the black paint on it.
Yeah. I remember, like, as a kid, I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, this was really cool. Knowing what I know now, because, I mean, at the time, you wouldn't have thought about it, so it didn't matter. And Undertaker did a really good impression of Kane. But knowing what I know now, looking at it, you can kind of tell it was Kane, or it was Undertaker doing a Kane impression.
Yeah, definitely. He's not as, I think Kane was heavier.
He was a little bit, and the way he did his pyro, like Undertaker, like it was like he was pushing something down, whereas Kane just kind of like threw his arms down. It was just like little things here and there. You can be like, okay. But I mean,
he probably didn't want to pull a Sami Zayn and throw his shoulders up before the match.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, all in all, he did a really good impression of him. I mean, he had the walk down and most of his mannerisms. It was really good stuff. So yeah, that was Raw.
We're going to take a quick break right here to let you know about some other great podcasts on the Big Heads Media Network. Great network. Other just slew of good shows besides the ones that we're going to promo here today. Go to bigheadsmedia.com. You can see all the great podcasts that they have to offer from many different subjects. When we come back, though, it's Monday Nitro.
I'm Kyle.
This is Steven.
Together we host a show called
Boy Meets World.
Tell them what we cover on Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
But that's not all, is it?
No.
No, we cover life experiences. Ours. Oh, son of a... Alright, just check out the show, please. We really need it. Okay? We need a win. Just check us out. We talk about the show Boy Meets World. Each episode of our show, we run parallel with an episode of Boy Meets World where we will examine the show.
That's way too much.
What happens, our life, how it relates to it, experiences.
I can't believe you're still recording.
I am recording this. Check it out, guys. You'll get some hilarious stories from me and Steven from our childhood. You'll get a great... I lost it.
Hello, my name is Jacob.
And I'm his co-host, 5-year-old Olivia.
Do you have kids?
And are your kids curious?
If you answered yes, you should check out Curious Kid Podcast, a weekly educational podcast for curious kids and grown-ups. Every week we learn about another topic.
We've already learned about spiderwebs, batteries, the moon, and so much more.
You can find us at CuriousKidPodcast.buzzsprout.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, we're back, and it is time to get into Monday Nitro, the show that won the ratings war this night. This one was 3 hours long.
Were they head-to-head this night?
Like, what do you mean? Nitro started at 8, I believe, but it went for 3 hours, whereas Raw started at 9. So
yeah, okay. So it was an unopposed hour. That's right.
Yeah, I pointed this out to another friend of mine. I was like, dude, Raw, or it might have been to you, I think. I pointed it out to a couple people. It's like they had like 1 million matches on Nitro, and none of them went longer than like 4 minutes, except the main event. It was kind of ridiculous. But yeah, after the intro to the show with Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, and Larry Zbyszko, Hollywood Hogan comes to the ring with Eric Bischoff, Miss Elizabeth, and the Disciple, our favorite guy, the aforementioned Brutus the Effin' Barber.
Hall of Famer.
Gosh, I forgot about that. Oh,
how do you forget that?
That's a fact in 2019. Gosh. Hogan puts over his upcoming tag match at Bash of the Beach, where he'll team with Dennis Rodman. They'll take on DDP and Karl Malone. Hogan says that if Goldberg can beat another one of his NWO brothers tonight, then he will face him in the main event. If not, the match won't happen. But he doesn't say who he's going to face. We'll find that out later, brother.
I think when I watched this, I for some reason kept thinking it was going to end up being the Disciple. I don't remember why. I think it just made sense.
That would have made sense, but that would have went over like a fart in church. Our opening contest for the night is Dean Malenko versus Booker T for the TV title. Not a bad way to start Nitro. I have Jack's figures of these guys. Chris Jericho comes out mid-match cutting a promo on Malenko, distracts him. This lets Booker T hit the axe kick for the win. Jericho laughs like a schoolgirl and runs away. That's not the last we'll see of them tonight, by the way. So,
oh man, it gets interesting.
There's a teaser. We now go to Kanyon versus Raven. I have a Jack's figure of Raven.
And no Kanyon?
I don't think they ever made one of Kanyon. I will say, Kanyon was really good in the ring. Like, I forgot how good he was. I wish they could have found a spot for him.
I forget who, but someone said he was like one of the best trainers, like unanimously across the board.
Yeah. He'd totally be working at the Performance Center now if he was still alive. It's real sad what happened. Kanyon comes out.
Honestly, I forget he passed away sometimes.
I know. That's one of them sad, real sad
I feel like they didn't even really do much for him. I mean, he wasn't there, but
yeah. I mean, I think it's because of the way he died. WWE doesn't give a lot of fanfare to suicide. But Kanyon comes out carrying his Mortis mask because, we all want a painful reminder of that. Raven has this WWE theme dubbed in, which I didn't even think about. And I was like, oh, crap. All right.
Well, Nirvana kind of got mad at them for stealing all their stuff, so.
I'm sure they did. He's got Lodi with him, because if you want to get over, have Lodi behind you.
With his signs.
Well, hell yeah. He was his own sign guy, Dudley. But Kanyon jumped them in the aisle. The match ends with Saturn coming out and jumping everybody, leading to a double DQ. Because of the way the ring is tied up underneath, which I've never seen a ring tied up like this, but he's trying to pull a table out and keeps getting caught. Takes him like 10 minutes to get this damn table out from under the ring. And he sets it up. It looks like it's pre-cut. Remember that. It looks like it's cut. He puts Raven on top of the table. He does like a front flip plancha. The table doesn't break. He lands on him and they just flop to the floor in pain.
The table won't do the job. The table didn't follow the script.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Lord. Russo had to come out and yell at it. Do your job, bro.
Table's going to be broken in half to be gone forever.
Good Lord. But yeah, Saturn comes out and does all this, gets back in the ring. The segment ends with Kanyon hitting the flatliner and leaving. I'm like, what just happened?
Go home. We got to go to commercial.
Yeah. Well, after this, they keep showing highlights all night, by the way, of like different wins in the streak of Goldberg. This goes on all night. Buff Bagwell is shown being helped out of his car and into a wheelchair by his mom and his chauffeur. Buff is in a neck brace. This was after, I can't remember what happened, but he landed awkwardly and they thought he might be paralyzed.
Rich Steiner hit a bulldog on him and it was like his neck went back or something, or he whipped back wrong or something. Yeah.
So they thought
They keep showing it over and over when it happened. It was a legit stinger, but they act like he broke his neck in half or something. They really looking back at it, they really overdid it.
He did hurt himself pretty bad, and he was laid up for a while. They thought his neck was worse than it was. Luckily, it wasn't. He said at first he thought he was going to be paralyzed because he said it was one of them where he didn't have any feeling in his arms and legs. So it was pretty scary for him. But we get a recap shown of, you and I were talking about this earlier, of DDP and Karl Malone driving to Nitro in a semi-truck.
Yeah, so the reason I thought it was this one, because if you watch it, they showed the entire segment of them arriving the week before.
Yeah. It was weird because the NWO was like in the parking lot with chairs waiting for them. But then when DDP and Malone arrive, the NWO is gone.
Like, no, don't they plow through and scare them like they're going to hit them?
Oh, I don't remember.
They come like they're waiting there. They see the truck. I think they plow through.
Okay.
And then
that makes more sense.
But to your point though, they are gone. They don't like show up and attack them as they get out. They're just gone. So.
Yeah, because they chase off the NWO and then they go to attack Hulk Hogan in the ring later.
Yeah.
So, and there's like 1 million members of the NWO and nobody's around to help Hogan. It's kind of weird. Where's his disciple? Oh, yeah. He got taken out first. Mean Gene Okerlund interviews DDP and Karl Malone so that they can plug their tag match at Bash of the Beach. Then a video interview plays of Steve Mongo McMichael putting himself over, and he asks Arn Anderson to reform the Horsemen. Gotta let these horses ride.
Put himself over.
He did. He
can't do that if you suck.
Well, he sure as hell tried. The funny thing was he didn't really put over his wrestling. He put over everything he did as a Chicago Bear.
Didn't they talk about Mike Ditka too?
They had Mike Ditka as part of the video package.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm like, who gives a damn what you did in Chicago? You're a wrestler now.
Don't be too liberal with that word.
Yeah. You know, you want to know a weird fact is I have a toy of Steve Mongo McMichael. He came in a Four Horsemen 4-pack.
I honestly didn't even know they made one.
Yeah, he came in a Four Horsemen 4-pack with Ric Flair, Chris Benoit, and Dean Malenko.
Are we allowed to say Chris Benoit here?
I just did. He's not on this episode of Nitro, by the way.
You're going to bleep it out, though, later, right?
Yeah, I'll put in a dolphin noise or a fart sound, one of the two. But either way, that segment just had me like face palming the whole time. He kept going on about the monsters in the Midway, and I'm like, dude, are you trying to put over the Chicago Bears, or are you trying? Or
why I laugh at when people keep talking about that? You know, if you go back and look at their history, they won one damn ring. They weren't exactly a dynasty.
Yeah.
So,
but they went 15-1, so it was a big deal.
No, I'm not putting that down. But like the way everyone talks about them, it was 1 year. You know, it's not like they went on and won like 10 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hey, back then that was, I guess, something.
I'm not knocking it. It's just the way people talk about the monsters of the Midway. I'm like, you guys didn't exactly repeat and go on and dominate. So,
well, and I gotta ask you this: wasn't that I want to say 86?
85. It was 85 Bears. It might have been in 86 for the Super Bowl, though. Maybe like January.
Okay, well, my point is, this is 1998. Who cares?
1998. That's the Packers and Broncos, right? So
I guess. I don't know. It's just like that happened over a decade before this. He hasn't played football in forever. He's been a wrestler and commentator and whatever for a while now. Like, what the hell is going on? This whole thing. And
well, he sucked as a wrestler. He sucked as a commentator, so he's got to live on his past. That's all I can think of.
And why is it up to Arn Anderson to reform the Horsemen, by the way?
My only thinking is because he named him, therefore it's him. I don't know.
Spot. I'm sorry. Moving on. Scott Putski versus Scotty Riggs is up next. Ratings.
This is a match.
Scott Putski, for those of you that don't know, is the son of Ivan Putski.
Yeah, the Polish Power.
Scott Putski was not over. Scotty Riggs was a member of the Flock. And
therefore not over.
Bingo. And Putski wins with a Baldo bomb. When he first came out, I thought, is that Johnny Swinger? But no, Johnny Swinger is actually on later this night.
I thought it was the Renegade without face paint.
Oh, good Lord. The NWO surrounded a car in the parking lot applauding in this next segment. It's a returning Scott Hall. He gets out and he looks at the camera. Right? Yeah, and he looked sober.
That's like two new things right there.
Yeah, boom. And the crowd went nuts. And Hall looked at the camera and said, "Hey, Goldberg, time to go to school." And apparently,
he called a punk too.
Apparently, Scott Hall's school that night was teaching how to suck 101. We'll get to that.
Before we go on, I gotta say I'm a huge fan of his, so I hope no one thinks I'm burying the guy.
Hall?
I still am.
Yeah.
It's just,
Jericho comes out and says that he's facing Ultimo Dragon tonight and is scheduled to face Dean Malenko at Bash the Beach. However, since Rey Mysterio beat him last week, it was actually a mini Rey Mysterio impersonator, which seems like an oxymoron to me, but whatever.
Going there?
He said he will face him at Bash the Beach instead. Then J.J. Dillon comes down, and I can't remember what Jericho called him, like John or something like that. But he tells Jericho...
Oh, I remember. It's just like Jonah? I think you call him...
Jojo or something. He called him something.
Yeah, Jojo. He called him Jojo, yeah.
Jojo Dillon. He had the best nicknames. J.J. Dillon says that he will face Dean Malenko at Bash the Beach. Then Dean runs to the ring, and J.J. says that if either man touches each other, They are suspended and out of the match on Sunday. Jericho insults Malenko, trying to egg him on by saying, "Your mother wears army boots," which I don't get that one, but whatever.
I'm laughing because I don't know what the hell it means.
I know. And then he said, "You're nothing but a talentless jobber." And this is when it started to heat up. He said, "Your dad's probably real proud of you, and he'd probably love to shake your hand if only he were alive to do so." I was like, oh. And then he says that his dad and Dean's dad were both professional athletes out on the road every night back in the day. And he said Dean's mom probably craved companionship. And he said, with that, do you ever wonder why you and your brother look nothing at all alike? And then Dean finally snapped.
That was too much.
Well, the funny thing is, I think the Malenkos do look a lot alike. But whatever. I guess that's beside the point. But yeah, Dean finally beat the crap out of Jericho. And they're like, well, I guess he's suspended now. And then we have...
Doesn't he end up pulling his hair out or something?
Yeah, he pulls a Bret Hart on Shawn Michaels. Just yanks handfuls of hair out. And it's all over the ring. But yeah, they finally go to commercial. When they come back, it's Jericho versus Ultimo Dragon. I have a Jax figure of Ultimo Dragon. Had to get another one in. This match ends with Dean Malenko attacking Chris Jericho, leading to a disqualification. Jericho runs away, and they arrest Dean Malenko. Was this the pay-per-view? Yeah, another screwed finish. Yay. Was this the Bash of the Beach? Was this where Dean Malenko dressed up like a luchador to face?
No, that was before.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, the real Rey Mysterio actually returns at this one.
Oh, okay.
J.J. Dillon teases it's a local guy who's an upstart. They're in San Diego, so he's not lying. He is a local guy.
How much you want to bet all those guys in the crowd were like, this isn't Mexico. It's not local.
Oh, my God. Nope.
Well, I don't know if back then they announced him from San Diego. I don't remember. But this next match, man, oh man, Johnny Swinger versus Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah? What do you mean, oh man? This sounds like 5 stars right here.
In the Tokyo Dome, yeah. I have a Jax figure of Chavo.
I have a figure of Kerwin White.
Oh my! Why? Please tell me you're true.
I don't think they've ever made one, actually.
Ah, damn! I thought you were telling the truth. You got my hopes up. You were about to make me sad because I don't have one.
Fair enough.
Chavo comes out in a hard hat covering up. Apparently, he's got a bald spot.
Yes, because Eddie Guerrero cut it last week, like a huge chunk of his hair.
Ah, okay. He legit was losing his hair at one point. He used to be on the Bosley's commercials. Because my dad pointed out, he was like, dude, this Chavo Guerrero on the hair regrowth commercials. I'm like, oh my gosh. But Chavo wins with a tornado DDT. He cuts off the ends of Swinger's hair because apparently Swinger didn't want him to cut it or something. But he says it's all for Eddie, and then he challenges Eddie to a hair versus hair match at Bash of the Beach. Doesn't Chavo get shaved?
No. Chavo shaves himself.
Oh, wow. Excuse me. Well, I lost my objectivity,
it's weird.
And I don't give a damn.
He just starts cutting his own hair and like talking crap to the camera and just going full on idiot. I don't.
Never go full retard. Oh man, Chavo in WCW was the best. But he didn't have Pepe yet. Damn. Or no, Pepe was long gone. Never mind.
Coming. Oh wait, yeah, it was long gone. You're right. Was it?
Or I don't remember. No, Pepe was yet to come. That's right. Yes, because he had it in '99. Ah, Pepe. We hardly knew ye. This next match, man. Oh man, it's the Disco Inferno and Alex Wright versus the Public Enemy. And
hell yes!
In Disco Inferno and Alex Wright's corner is Tokyo freaking Magnum.
The Boogie Nights. Hell yes.
Yeah. They didn't want Tokyo Magnum there. He just kind of showed up, and they were like, what are you doing here? Like, this was 3 count before 3 count. Tokyo saves Alex Wright from a table by pulling him off of it. Wright and Disco just kind of leave him, and the Public Enemy jump him. They stack 2 tables on top of each other, throw him on top, and then they jump on top of him and through the tables, just like killing Tokyo Magnum. And then Disco and Alex Wright come back and jump Public Enemy with trash can lids and then leave. So this was horrible.
Look, we've said this a couple times now, but not to speak ill of the dead. But man, they were bad, man.
Yeah, they were like this.
It's some hardcore wrestling fans I know have the nerve to ask me why I crap on ECW. Gee, I don't know.
Dude, even Conrad, who, if you've ever listened to any of Conrad Thompson's podcasts, he loves ECW. Even he craps on Public Enemy. And he said, man, in WCW, you really get more appreciation for what Paulie did with them.
Right. Because he didn't try to make him have matches. He knew what they were worth.
Yeah, come out and just hit people with garbage.
Yeah.
Boom. Over. Wave your arms in the air. Call the fat guys from the crowd in the ring to dance with you. There you go. Ratings, pal.
Ratings for ECW. That was a concept.
Yeah, we got to get that 0.1%. Mean Gene Okerlund calls out Buff Bagwell, talks to him about nearly getting paralyzed and having neck surgery. Did he have neck surgery?
That I don't remember, honestly. I
don't
don't think
remember.
he did, though. I feel like he wasn't gone long enough had it been surgery. I could be wrong on that, but this is July. I think it happened in October. I guess 8 months, 9 months could have been.
Well, what was weird about Buff Bagwell? Well, one of the weird things of many.
That he was an escort?
He is an escort. Got to get that out.
My mistake.
Yeah. He's still doing it, pal. But his finisher was the blockbuster. Nowadays, back then it was cool. Nowadays it's just like a cutoff move for Seth Rollins.
Yep, or even a setup move too.
Yeah, and people get right up. Back then he pinned people with that.
Not only did he pin him, he hit the blockbuster, he jumped in the air and waved his hands and said, "That's it." Took an extra second and then pinned him. So, yeah.
He didn't do the clap?
No, he jumped up in the air
clap?
and threw his hands like it's over.
Nice.
I wish he would have did the clap, though. That would have made more sense now.
Yeah.
Now look at it.
Yeah, Buff cuts a big old babyface promo. The crowd goes nuts for him. And then he basically says he wants to cut a Mr. T style promo about his mama. Because he said, if I could go on for the next 3 hours about this woman, I would. The great Judy Bagwell, who in a little over a year...
will be on a forklift.
Yeah, a little over a year will be on a forklift. Great. And she will be a tag team champion.
It's in the archives, by the way.
Yeah. Yay. This is the first sighting of Goldberg we get tonight, by the way. Goldberg versus Scott Hall. Apparently, they announced this when the match is happening. The U.S. title is on the line. Goldberg is the U.S. champion. This was a sloppier than usual Goldberg match, and that's saying something. At one point, Scott Hall waves for somebody to come down, and it's the Disciple and Vincent. Yeah.
Hell yeah. What a freaking duo.
Because if you want to make this segment better, boom. Ebony and Ivory, man.
Oh, man. The barber and the meat sauce. Oh, man.
Lord. But they only
That's a money idea right there. You shut your mouth.
Damn right. They only get halfway down the aisle, and DDP and Karl Malone take them out with chairs from behind. Goldberg reverses an out.
I can tell you watching this match and that moment, that's when I started being convinced that Goldberg is going to win. We'll get more into that later, too.
Yeah. Well, he reverses an outsider's edge,
into a spear, and then a jackhammer for the win. Yay. So that was that.
I think if I remember right, it was a pretty ugly spear, too.
It was something. When he reversed the Outsider's Edge, he didn't, like, backdrop him onto his back. He flipped him so hard, he landed right on his butt. Yeah. We get Psychosis versus Juventud Guerrera up next, which you would think would be a great match, but it was...
Oh, yeah, seeing as Juventud was probably the best wrestler in the country at this point.
No, that's 1999 he's the best. And it's the world.
He's clearly on his way.
Yeah, he's building up. Hoovy damn near kills himself with a suicide dive at one point. Best in the world!
Wow.
He ends up winning with a 450 splash, and then Raven's Flock jumps him because reasons. They get beaten up by Psychosis, they beat up Psychosis as well as Juventud. And in the middle of this beatdown, they cut away for another freaking Goldberg highlight. So the two luchadors are getting beat up by the Ravens Flock in the ring. Anyway, more Goldberg! Yay! Priorities, man. Speaking of priorities, Hacksaw Jim Duggan took on the Giant next.
What the hell kind of transition was that?
Well, you got to get this on the card.
Oh, just like speaking of priorities.
Well, yeah, you got to prioritize Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
My God. After
a very short, sloppy match, the Giant wins with a choke slam. He then randomly calls out Kevin freaking Green.
Oh, yeah, they're feuding at this point.
Well, you got to get more football players on this show. We've had a basketball player, another basketball player talked about, and 2 football players on the show.
And the coach is on the show too, technically in the video package.
Oh yeah, that is true. But Kevin Green comes out, he spits at the Giant, and then he clotheslines him over the top rope, making him look like a jabroni, I guess is the best way to say it.
Oh, don't say that. You know he doesn't like being called one of those.
Oh man. You might be okay with being called a jabroni, but I'm not. Good grief. Now in the archives, Big Show, his career, look it up. Or don't, but please do.
No, I couldn't.
You know how I said so-and-so, various people looked out of place in the WWF in 1998?
Yeah.
We'll prepare for that here. We got Jim the Anvil Neidhart taking on DDP.
Oh my God, I forgot he was in WCW.
Yeah. He was in fairly decent shape here.
And where is Brett, by the way? He's not on this whole show, I don't believe.
No, he is not. I don't even think he's talked about on this show, which is a little odd. I don't know what's happening with him. But
that's millions well spent right there. That's what that is.
Well, damn right. But DDP wins with a diamond cutter and then celebrates with Karl Malone. So that was that.
Was this match only like two seconds?
It was pretty damn short. Yeah, it was like less than a minute. Next, we actually get... Speaking... You were just talking about short matches, man. This one, holy crap. It's the Wolfpack, but it's Sting and Lex Luger with the Wolfpack in their corner. They're taking on Kidman and Sick Boy of Raven's Flock.
Hell yeah. What a match.
This ends in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I remember.
I have a Jax figure of that Lex Luger. Or of Lex Luger. But, Sting and Luger, who... Luger is wearing black jeans to wrestle in, by the way. I don't know why.
He did that when he was in the Wolfpack.
It was weird. And Tomato Face Sting, man. That was something to behold.
Not my favorite.
No. But
I have a Mattel figure of that.
This... they dominate, and Luger wins with a torture rack on Sick Boy in like 1 minute. By the way, this was a weird team, not because of because Sting and Luger were like BFFs, so that wasn't weird, and they were both in the Wolfpack, so that wasn't weird. The weird part was Sting was tag team champions with Kevin Nash, not Lex Luger.
I didn't get that either.
Yeah, so Nash just stood off to the side and was like, "You got it tonight, big boy." I'm like, okie doke. So that was the lead up to the main event. We're finally at Goldberg Hogan WCW title. Dude, Goldberg's entrance took 3 years. I swear. Like, they let that song cycle through like twice at least.
He was in his hometown. Like,
the crowd
played
I will
football
say
in that
this.
stadium.
Yeah, I will say this. The crowd did chant Goldberg the whole time. There are
if you ask Kevin Nash, apparently that's piped in, and that never
Yeah.
happened. So.
I was just going to say, if you ask some people, they buy into that crowd. Well, they always pump that in. Like, oh, bite me. Like, yeah, right.
Did they pump in, like, did they digitally go in there and put, like, people's mouths moving Goldberg and put their arms in the air, too? And
Did they go in there? Did they plant those multiple signs and T-shirts in the crowd?
Right.
Did they digitally go in there and add like them blowing the roof off every time he won? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. My favorite sign, by the way, this night was the one that said Titanic sank when it hit a Goldberg.
Yeah, I saw.
That was pretty clever.
Like, when Hulk Hogan comes out, he stands on the stage and he says, "I am going to kick Goldberg's butt." Like he wasn't sure what he was going to kick of Goldberg.
Should I say ass? Should I say ass? Will Ted find me?
He's like, should I say ass? No, that's too heelish, brother. Don't want to get crass. I went from Hogan to Vince McMahon. Hogan uses his weight belt to whip Goldberg. He hits him with a low blow.
And doesn't get DQ'd, by the way.
Yeah. He uses a chair. All of this right in front of the referee. Way to kill a finish, brother. Like, nobody ever kicks out of the leg drop, and then Hogan's like, you know what? I'm going to hit you with 3, and you kick out. Like, what?
It's not killing a finish. I disagree with that. It's Goldberg, so it's different.
I know, but it's just like, I kind of, but like, then he gets beat with a cattle prod. Like, all right, I don't know.
Well, a leg drop versus a freaking, you're getting electrocuted. Come on. That's a huge difference.
I know. I don't know. I was shocked because Hogan like always protected his finish. But then he like hit 3 in a row and Goldberg kicked out and like popped up and was like, F you. like, okay.
Well, apparently Goldberg worked for him, brother.
What the hell? Kurt Hennig comes down, followed by DDP and Karl Malone again. Malone hits a diamond cutter on Hennig. The crowd...
A damn good one, by the way.
I know, right? But, like, that was, like, the extent of the Goldberg-Hennig, interaction.
Well, they have been feuding for a while, though, so it's nothing new.
I didn't hate the DDP Karl Malone thing. If I had to... And I know, like I said, it's their big marquee match. If I had to criticize a show, like, for one thing, like, I think they had a little bit too much, like, Karl Malone and DDP, like, all over the effing place.
Well, Karl Malone was still active player, though, in basketball. The NBA Finals just ended. You know, they're not going to keep that quiet.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, they literally just lost to the Bulls. Like, probably 2-3 weeks before this. You know, you can't blame them for having them all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... I get it. I do. But this is what was weird to me. Goldberg, like, pops up after kicking out of the 3 leg drops. He's clearly going into his finish here. He hits a spear. He's going to the jackhammer. The crowd is littering the ring with garbage. Toilet paper, cups, bottles. I'm like, what is going on? Like, are you like, yay, take some garbage, woo! Like, I don't get it. Like, they're happy littering.
I know it sounds weird, but I think it was, I was going to say it's happy littering.
It was just so weird.
Like when, I don't know if you remember, like, years ago when the Lakers won the title, like 2010, I think it was. They freaking flipped cars over and set them on fire in L.A. because they won.
Well, that's like a Tuesday in LA.
Do this. I'm just saying, people do this crap when they get excited and it's going their way. I don't know. It's only I can compare it to.
I just thought it was like a Georgia thing, like, woo, Goldberg, here's my beer. And why, by the way, why were people bringing toilet paper to the show?
Well, because I started to say this earlier. I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Hogan was going to win and Goldberg's streak was over. But then seeing Page and Malone all night beat up the NWO, and I just had a feeling, oh my God, he could win this. I started thinking that. Like going into the show, I was like, it's not going to happen. They're going to screw him. No, NWO's going to screw him. And then, this happened. I was like legit jumping up in the air when it happened.
Yeah. Well, so do you think they brought the toilet paper because they thought Hogan was going to win?
That's my assumption. Yeah, that's my assumption. They thought it was going to be another BS finish. So, and they had every right to think that. You've seen Nitro building up to this. They had every right to believe that.
That is true. But when he hits the jackhammer for the win, the crowd just blows their load for this. They all chant Goldberg for the next.
You could see the guards chanting Goldberg and jumping up and down too. They're wearing yellow jackets. It's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, they did that. They all chant Goldberg for the next 5+ minutes. They gave Goldberg forever to celebrate at the end. Not saying it wasn't justified. I'm just they.
It's just what's crazy is it happened in where he was born, where he grew up.
Yeah,
it's you can't script that.
Yeah, oh I know. And this crowd, they kept putting over 40,000 people in the Georgia Dome. What's funny was they're in the Georgia Dome here in 1998, and they have this huge triumphant moment in WCW. And, for Goldberg and everything. The next time they're there, it's some screwed finish or some screwed thing with Goldberg where you don't see him all night until the very end. And they screw over the fans with Hogan.
Yep.
It's so weird. And it was just a year later. It wasn't even a full year later. It was 6 months? Or no.
5 months, right? Oh.
I don't remember. It was
in January, so July to January, so.
Okay.
5 months.
That makes
5
sense.
Months.
So weird.
That was probably my favorite Nitro moment ever.
Yeah, that's right up there for me. There were a lot of cool ones. That one was really good. It's just so freaking historic.
That was the night I think I wasn't going back and forth from Raw and Nitro. At that moment, I didn't give a damn what's happening on Raw. I was watching that. And when it happened, I completely forgot about Raw. And by the time it was over, Raw was over and I didn't know what happened. And I didn't have no internet or nothing yet. So I had to ask my friends the next day.
I never watched WCW, so I didn't really know what the heck was going on. So at that time, I was exclusively watching WWF. So it wasn't
I was favoring WWE, but I feel like Goldberg was still my guy.
I remember Goldberg was the first dude who, besides the old WWF guys, Goldberg, I think, was one of the first guys I looked at and was dude, he's awesome.
Yeah, he had that it factor that, just, there was something about him. Even to this day, I take crap from people, but I don't give a damn. You and I were there when he went into the Hall of Fame, dude. I was we were chanting it all freaking night.
Hell yeah. And freaking AJ Styles went crazy for him because he's a Georgia boy.
Yeah, he went even nuts when he mentioned it too, the Bulldogs, because they still kick ass and
yep.
Screw the Tide.
Oh man. I bet Conrad was pissed. He's screw you for that.
I hate you for that.
Oh man, but this, like I said, this is a huge night in wrestling history, and we're gonna look at more of these moments to compare and contrast Raw and Raw's War and Monday Nitro from back in the day. There were some big head-to-head nights. You can probably think of some more than I could because, like I said, back in the day I was mostly into Raw, so I I never had to like switch back and forth. But
yeah, there was a point where I stopped switching back and forth. I got to look back and see when.
Yeah.
At some point, I just stopped giving a damn.
About Nitro?
I'm almost certain it was mid-Russo run.
Yeah, nobody would have blamed you for that. That, well, then
I'm going to say this, though. I don't think it was because of the Russo thing. I just think it was because WWE was just flat out better. I mean, it was because of the Russo thing, but that's not why I stopped. I was just more intrigued with WWE.
Yeah.
I still saw it all. I recorded Nitro and watched it the next day, but I favored WWE, so.
I'm glad I wasn't like a big WCW fan, because I've talked to people who were big WCW fans back during that time, and like they kind of grew up on WCW, and they were like heartbroken to see what happened to their favorite company.
Bro, we're gonna make it crash TV, bro.
Yeah, crap TV, more like it. But next week though, you and I are going to be talking about. Well, we might cover some other stuff, but the big story next week that we're going to cover is we're going to do an all-out preview. This is going to be by the time next week's episode drops, it's going to be that coming Saturday. So you and I can preview All Out, AEW's All Out big event. It's their last pay-per-view before their TV show, which you were saying
could be their last pay-per-view of the year. I believe they're only running 3 or 4 pay-per-views a year. So,
they're only
wrong
doing
on that. Well, I know. I'm not wrong on that part. I heard they were only doing 4 a year, but
they're
this could
sticking
be
to
the last
quarterly.
one of the year. I don't know. I guess theoretically, November, December, there's another one. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, if they only stick to 4 a year, I mean, I'm not going to say that's a terrible business model, because I mean,
well, it would definitely make the TV matter more.
Yeah, it make the TV matter more, because you won't just have like throwaway shows. Like, shows will actually mean something now, because you're not just building up to a pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, but let's also keep in mind, to be fair, they don't have a network, so people legit have to pay for their pay-per-views. So, I mean, we pay for WWE's, but
right.
Standard $10 a month versus $60 a pop. Assuming they do that again, I don't know if they'd be dumb enough to do that again.
I don't know.
I believe they could have doubled or tripled their numbers if they didn't charge $60. That's my opinion, but
yeah. Well, and another thing was like their pre-shows so far have been very bad. So if you're watching the pre-show trying to decide whether or not you're going to plunk down $60 for a show, and you see that, you're like, no thanks.
Well, I don't know. I mean, when you see a grown man take another grown man's head and shove it in his ass, and you see a guy with no legs, you don't want to order that pay-per-view?
I'm good. No.
I don't know there's anything wrong with any of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
But I'm not watching that. I'm not paying $60 for a sideshow.
Yeah.
Although it was in Vegas, you see some weird stuff in Vegas. Maybe it made sense. I don't know. But I digress.
Yeah.
Go, Hangman.
Of course, Hangman. No, Greg. It would be stupid if they put the title on a no-name like him. They got to put it on Chris Jericho, even though Chris Jericho's too old to be champion, and he shouldn't be there.
We should be thanking him still.
Oh, man. Well, that's what... Yeah, well, that's what his last promo is all about.
Yeah, that was the big live mic shocking thing.
Yep.
Let's talk about a letdown.
Drink it in, man. Hey, Uncle Dave put that promo over huge.
Of course he did.
He loved it. Said he's the best on the mic ever.
Well, you'd have to love it too if you're being secretly paid by them.
Sure, secretly, yeah.
Well, it is secret. We don't know.
Yeah, I know. That, just, according to rumor
we
and innuendo. All right. Well, anyway, that about wraps it up for us today. Thank you for joining me today, Greg, to discuss this great night in wrestling history.
Roll Tide.
No to all that. But we will see you next week when we talk about All Elite Wrestling. Peace.
Later.